So now for our first award. The Inspiration Award recognizes someone who stands out as a positive and influential role model for the communities we serve. They've significantly impacted others around them while accomplishing success in their personal and their professional lives. Tricia Downing, Trish, is a Craig Hospital graduate, a multi-sport athlete, a nonprofit executive director, an author, a motivational speaker, a Paralympian, and just really an all-around amazing person. Please turn your attention to the screens for a film brought to you by G.E. Johnson Construction Company.
I need sports. I need to work out or else I'm not a very nice person. If I get to go do a 10-hour bike ride, then I'm too tired to be mean.
She has to have that goal, that next competition.
Trish is very focused.
When she knows what she wants, she goes for it.
I'm the oldest of 4 kids in our family. We had 3 boys, and Tricia was adopted.
We, I think, have always been very protective of her.
Trish was always an active athlete. She was a gymnast when she was younger.
Gymnastics was something that I just loved. I adored being upside down. My mom called me a monkey because I would climb the walls in the house. The diving was a lot of fun. I loved the diving team. I'm pretty much game for trying anything athletic at least one time. I took up the sport of cycling when I lived in Colorado Springs working at the Olympic Training Center. I fell in love with it, started setting all kinds of goals, and started racing competitively. I was just getting to the point in cycling where I was like, if I put just a little more work into this, I could be pretty good. I felt like I still had a cycling career ahead of me. The summer of 2000 was like this huge thing that I was looking forward to. I planned for months all the races that I was going to do across the country. My goal was to work my way up in cycling so that I could qualify to race in the national championship. I raced in something like 18 races in the course of a month or so. My friend Matt and I decided that we would just go for a bike ride. The Lookout was the place that I was used to going with my friends to climb and get a pretty good ride in. Had a great ride. On the way back, there was a car, and as I watched the car turn, Matt had to like swerve around the car. In my mind, I was thinking, surely that driver sees that there was a cyclist right there in front of him. I realized that the driver didn't see that. The front wheel of my bike hit the front bumper of the car. I was launched off the bike, landed on my back on the windshield, and then fell to the ground.
Got a phone call. It was her friend Matt, and he said, Trish has been in an accident. And then he told me that she couldn't move her legs.
The first thing that I felt was, well, that I didn't feel, were my legs. I felt like they were floating in midair.
Trish was pretty out of it. She was very seriously injured and could not really engage with us much. My dad went down to the radiology department to look at the x-rays. His first words is, her life is over. What he was saying was that her life as she knew it was over.
My spinal cord was bent kind of in an S shape. It was not a complete injury, it wasn't severed, but it was bad enough that it might as well have been.
And that had to have been the most trying time in her life. I felt that I needed to be strong for her. And ultimately what I found out is that she was the one who was being strong for us.
Being from Denver and having, one of the best spinal cord rehabilitation centers here, there was no doubt that we were going to do everything possible to get me into Craig.
I don't remember there being any other alternatives other than Craig. It was, heck yeah, she needs to get to Craig.
She had complications. With her spinal cord injury came a lot of other injuries. So unlike a lot of the patients that get to rehab, they're ready for rehab. And Trish was not able to fully participate in the program because she was still in the bed.
It was a lot like a roller coaster. Okay, I understand what has happened, but I know I can deal with it. 2 days when I would just kind of go off the deep end. At Craig, you have the resources, you have people who are trying to get you back to whatever your sense of normal is.
She was beyond the 100 questions that anyone else would have about how am I going to get to a start line. One day, Trish said to me, I'm going to do a race in 6 months. Would you sponsor me? And I thought, well, of course I will.
We knew that these were the people that were really spending the long hours and the hard hours and the good hours with Trish, and that we were entrusting our sister to them. It was a profoundly powerful time period because it shifted my mindset from the physician who, thought, well, I'm going to come help my sister deal with the reality of her trauma and what her life is going to look like, to, you know what? You don't have to do that. You could be your brother.
Tricia's life today is mind-boggling.
So tonight, embark on a journey of self-discovery and explore the essence of the human spirit with our speaker, Tricia, who I have the privilege of calling my sister.
She has so many things going on.
But it was because I realized that I was an athlete.
If there was a need that needed to be met here at Craig Hospital, she was a peer mentor for us.
She's had this competitive nature all of her life.
It's like she couldn't quite get enough of a challenge.
The first time she was in the pool with me, she wanted out. She didn't want anything to do with the water again. And there she was, taking on a half Ironman. Trish was determined to be an Olympian, to represent our country, and she did it, and we are so proud of her.
It's the biggest venue in the world, and there she is, competing against the best athletes in the world in her sport.
Camp Discovery was certainly a dream of Tricia's, to provide for women that she would see who didn't sit tall, but were more dependent and just not aware of what they were capable of doing. So she thought that she could provide a fun, challenging, rewarding, special environment with Camp Discovery, and she did that.
We had such great response that, people wanted it again and again and again, and, next thing I know, we're 10 years in.
How many years into this, and Trish is now a writer. And I think what a gift, because if there's any book anyone should read, it's something Trish has written. I love her writing.
What I needed to do was to ride my own race.
She has not given it up.
She's hard to keep up with. I can't.
She, by nature, is a teacher, and she has so much to offer people. What patients do for each other, and Trish is such a great example of this, is far greater than anything that we who walk into the doors of the hospital each day can do. So Craig Hospital has their great ambassadors, and Tricia Downing is absolutely one of them.
Let's have Trish come out. Please come on out, Trish. Give it a big old hug. Trish, for significantly impacting others around you, serving as a positive and influential role model, and finding success in both your personal and professional life, I am honored to present the 2019 Inspiration Award to you. You're supposed to look over there and do that photo. You want to hold your award up? Oh. There we go. I'll take this off. There we go. Thank you. It's all yours.
It's such an honor to be here today in front of all of you to receive this award. And I was sitting back there watching the video. I hadn't seen it before tonight, and I feel like there were a lot of people conspiring to make me cry, as I don't cry easily, but my brothers were making a good run at it, and Brian, who was the videographer, was back there watching me. I could just see him like looking in my eyes, waiting for the tears to fall. But there's so many things that I could tell you tonight about Craig Hospital. You know, when you sustain a spinal cord injury, it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. You know, I mean, you do see your life as being over, you know, the life that you knew. And, you know, the first hours and days and weeks with my family, we were all sort of shell-shocked. And it wasn't until we got to Craig when things started to get a little bit more normal, and we had people who were really there to encourage me. And the people who work at Craig become your family. I was in the hospital almost 4 months, and, you know, by the end, the doctors are calling my mom, Mom, and, you know, the nurses are becoming my best friends, and I'm recruiting them all to come to Hawaii with me to do that race that Claire was talking about that I wanted to do 6 months after I was discharged. And they have remained to this day part of my family. They're still people that I turn to when I need help, and you know, it's just amazing that this family can stay together so long. When I was in Craig, one of the things that Claire and my physical therapist Stacy and the other therapists used to say to me that used to just grate on my nerves so much, they told me that just because I was in a wheelchair, it didn't mean that my life was over. They said, you'll still be able to do all the same things you've ever done. You'll just have to find a new way to do them. And when you're in the hospital lying flat on your back, that's aggravating. But when you get out of Craig, you realize that that is 100% truth. And when I started getting back into sports, I realized I could do anything that I want to do, whether that's, you know, be an Ironman or, you know, go off and do any of the other accomplishments that I've done since I've been at Craig. And so when I started Camp Discovery, I wanted to bring this to other women, and I didn't really realize what I was doing when I started it, but I started seeing women who came from around the country, from other rehab facilities, and they couldn't do the things that I could do. They didn't have the confidence that I had, and I didn't really understand it until year after year, these women coming in, not having the skills, and I realized the thing that made me successful was the fundamentals. And that's what Craig is so good at teaching you. They give you that foundation so that you can go on and live your life. And let me tell you, every rehab center is not created equally. I count my blessings every day that I got to go to Craig, because I could not do all the things that I've done if it weren't for those people telling me that, you know, just find a new way, and teaching me the fundamentals and all the things that I needed to do. And so
I'm honored to sit in front of you today and say that Craig Hospital saved my life and it helped me reach my dreams. And the thing about tonight is that I have reached my dreams. I have represented my country in the Paralympic Games. I've written 2 books. I've done 6 Ironman races. I've done all these amazing things. And, you know, I don't know what all of your dreams are, all of you who are in this room, but the fact that you're here helping us who've had spinal cord injuries, who've had traumatic brain injuries, reach our dreams, I think says amazing things about all of you. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. And I'd like to thank Craig Hospital, my family, because they succeeded, I'm gonna cry. And my therapists, my nurses, you know, the people who, I had a infection 2 weeks ago, and I texted one of my Craig nurses on her private cell phone, which I know you shouldn't do with your doctor, or your nurse, but she answered me, and she answered me within 2 minutes and told me what I needed to do so that it wouldn't affect me any further. And these people go above and beyond in their jobs. So I just want to thank you all for being here tonight. I know that there are a lot of people I have to thank, and I didn't bring my Academy Award script up here with me, but thank you to everyone for helping all of us get through what can be a very traumatic situation, but has amazing rainbows and sunshine on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you.